Why did Silverwing, one of the most beautiful and elegant dragons of House Targaryen, choose Ulf the White, a dirty bastard from King's Landing, as its new rider? And just exactly who Ulf the White is, his parentage, might have a deeper connection to Silverwing than we thought. And especially with Ulf almost smashing Silverwing's dragon eggs, exactly why in House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 7, towards the end, why was Silverwing flying over King's Landing and having Vhagar chase it back? Hey guys, I'm Shalon, and welcome to the Binge Zone. On today's video, we're breaking down Silverwing, Ulf the White, their deeper connections in Targaryen history, and why the connection between Silverwing and Ulf will forever change the story of House of the Dragons as we know it, because these bonding rituals have been crazy. Silverwing is one of the oldest dragons in the series, originally belonging to Alysanne Targaryen, the wife of the old King Jaehaerys from the first episode of House of the Dragons. Silverwing hatched in Queen Alysanne's cradle, and it hatched knowing human connection. And throughout all of Silverwing's life, it has always been a domesticated dragon. After spending decades as Queen Alysanne's dragon, flying from Dragonstone to King's Landing, from King's Landing to Winterfell, from Winterfell to the Wall. Yes, Silverwing is one of the few dragons that have flown to the Wall. It's a majestic and beautiful creature that has known nothing but royalty and loves being outside roaming free. After Queen Alysanne's death, no one else was able to claim Silverwing. So for over 50 years now, Silverwing has not had a rider. Even when others have tried to claim Silverwing, they've been unable to, because as the show progresses, we see that Rhaena has tried to claim many dragons. They even talked about how she tried to claim Sea Smoke. So Silverwing was not able to bond with anybody else after Queen Alysanne's death. So why choose Ulf the White? And just exactly who is Ulf the White? When we're first introduced to Ulf, he introduces himself as the bastard son of Lord Baelon Targaryen. If that is true, which I believe it is, because the way the show is shaping out, it changes so many things from the books. So because it's its own story and its own lore, in this universe, Baelon Targaryen, the father of Daemon and Viserys Targaryen, had a bastard child, and that bastard is Ulf. We saw the groundworks of this being laid out in Season 1. During Season 1, Episode 9, we see that Aegon has himself bastards running around King's Landing, so it's not unheard of for princes to run around King's Landing. That's why in this episode, so many Targaryen bastards, we'll call them dragon seeds, so many dragon seeds came to try to claim a dragon, because the Targaryens were out here just spreading their seeds everywhere. With being the son of Baelon Targaryen, that makes him also the uncle to Rhaenyra. But more importantly, that makes him the grandson of Queen Alysanne, Silverwing's last known rider, and the closest connection Silverwing has to Alysanne that doesn't have a dragon. Because when Daemon, Rhaenys, and that generation claimed their dragons as the grandchildren of Alysanne, and even Viserys claimed the mightiest dragon of all, Balerion. At that point, all of them had their dragons while Queen Alysanne was alive. So when she passed, the next generation of dragon riders, we're talking the Rhaenyras, the Aemons, the Rhaenas, all of those are great-grandchildren and lower. And we saw what happened to Sir Stephen Darkland last episode. So the connection to the rider is very important to these dragons in House of the Dragon. We saw how Sea Smoke hunted down and chased down and claimed Adam. And in this episode, it's no different. Ulf being the last grandson, or being alive when Alysanne was alive, is a connection that Sea Smoke finds it with Ulf. And the fact that Ulf himself is the complete opposite of Alysanne just shows that dragon connection is deeper than just similarities. It's just a weird connection, because Ulf is the total opposite of his grandmother. She was a queen, she was regal, clean, he's dirty, no home, but he is highly regarded by the small folk of King's Landing, just like Queen Alysanne was highly regarded by the small folk of King's Landing and the small folk everywhere she went. So we see that similarity between him and his grandmother. His friends, everyone around town loves Ulf for who he is. He stands up for their rights, even though he can't really do it himself. We even see this earlier in the season, because who his mother was, his mother having been a barmaid and him being the bastard son of a Targaryen, he doesn't treat women like that. We saw earlier in the season when one of his friends actually treated the barmaid that Aegon took advantage of that way, he didn't like it. So that nobility, that sense of justice, is something that ties him greatly to Alysanne, and that creates the bond between him and Silverwing. That's why Silverwing chose Ulf the White as its current rider. And add to the fact that Ulf almost smashed one of Silverwing's eggs, you would think that she would cook him alive. But again, the dragons are the ones choosing their riders, And Ulf didn't break any eggs. Even in his clumsiest moment, he may have broken the egg sac, but he didn't destroy any of her dragon eggs. But during the end of the episode, why exactly was Silverwing flying over King's Landing, having Vhagar chase it back to Dragonstone? Because at this point, Ulf doesn't know how to pilot a dragon. So the only explanation for this is Silverwing, a dragon that's used to traveling, knowing the terrain, knowing the lands, knowing how to get to King's Landing from Dragonstone, flew its old stomping grounds. This is the first time it actually had a rider that allowed it to fly and be free. And the first place it went to was its longtime home, which was King's Landing. It's nostalgic because that's where Queen Alysanne and Silverwing spent most of its life, and that's also where Ulf was born. Both of them having a connection to King's Landing caused Silverwing to go there, and that was enough to entice Vhagar. And Silverwing knew what's up. As soon as Vhagar showed up, Silverwing got out of there, and Silverwing ran to her man Vermithor, because we're going to talk about Vermithor in our next video. But guys, that's it for this video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, binge on.